blessings, and welcome to another edition of King Talk Tuesday, the show with real views, real news, and real talk. Here on King Talk Tuesday, we cover all topics, including education, health, economics, spirituality, and so much more. I look forward to you all joining me for more dynamic and inspiring conversations each and every week. King Talk Tuesdays is streaming live now on Facebook and as well as our YouTube every Tuesday at 8 p.m. King Talk Tuesday also airs on BronxNet Television every Thursday at 10:30 p.m. on Optimal Channel 70 and Fios Channel 2136. We are also streaming on a number of streaming services such as Roku TV, Amazon Prime, Millennial TV 24, and Clash TV. I encourage all our viewers to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that's King Talk Tuesdays, so you don't miss any of our previous episodes. Also, you can check your local listings to catch more episodes of King Talk Tuesdays, which air throughout the week. For the past couple of years, we've been airing, and I want to thank everyone who's been tuning in. You remember what I say, right? People pay attention to people who participate. So tell a friend, tell a neighbor that King Talk Tuesdays is airing now, and they can leave a comment or question on our Facebook or our YouTube, or they can email us at kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com. Again, our email address for any questions, thoughts, or concerns, kingtalktuesdays@gmail.com. We'll be right back on King Talk Tuesdays after a couple of words from some of our friends.
Welcome to Therodynamics, where we get you back to life. We offer physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. We accept all major insurances. Don't worry about an appointment. At Therodynamics, walk-ins are accepted. We have locations in the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and New Jersey. Our therapists, combined with our cutting-edge technology, will get you back to life. Visit our website at www.therodynamics.com for locations, services, and more.
Hi, Frank Perez here from Eastchester Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, where you'll always pay the least in the East. Right now, we're having a huge end of summer markdown sales event. Every vehicle is priced to sell. Take advantage of low financing, huge savings up to $15,000 off MSRP, plus get the best value for your trade.
Lease a new 2023 Jeep Wrangler 4xe or the all-new 2024 Dodge Hornet, your choice, for $399 per month.
Why shop anywhere else? Eastchester Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, pay the least in the East.
Jeep Adventure Days.
Oh yeah, pay the least in the East. If you need any way to transport yourself around, Eastchester Jeep is your answer. Also, if you have any back pain, leg pains, eye pains, head pains, Therodynamics is the answer to putting yourself back to life. There are so many things that are happening throughout the world and around the Bronx. But what I really want to know, great rhythm and blues singer, rest his soul, Marvin Gaye would say, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Well, let's talk about what's going on. Everyone's inspired. If you have a family with children, this has been the first week that's been put together to bring our children back into the classrooms, back into the school building, back into learning mode, but more importantly, back into developing and learning and being great young human beings. So we're so excited that this week, this Friday, coming up, the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program will be hosting its 13th annual Back to School, Out of the Pool, Back to School Recreation Day rally, with the goal of inspiring kids that last day of, just before summer ends, to jump around, play around, get it all out your system, because now it's time to open up those books. Now it's time to be disciplined in your studies. Now it's time to focus on being good to your classmates, but more importantly, better to yourself, so you can do your job. And as we've always said in the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program, what's your job? Your only job right now is to learn. Don't worry about the Con Ed bill or the rent. Your job right now is to learn. So this Friday in Agnes Haywood Playground at 10:30 a.m., we'll be kicking off and coming together, bringing our students from a number of elementary, even early childhood and middle school and high schools. Students coming together for a day of camaraderie, joy, fun, motivational speaking, kicked off by New York City Public School Chancellor David C. Banks. We're excited for the words that he's going to bring as he stimulates and motivates our students to get ready for the 23-24 school year. Also on this day, we'll be giving homage and prayer and salute to all our uniform fighters, whether they're NYPD or the Coast Color Guards, or whether they are the FDNY sanitation, Parks Department, we just want to give all of them the praise, for all the work they've been doing out of 9/11. Some of them are still sick. Some of our family members, a lot of people have transitioned on that day that America had to sit back and watch a bruise get put on their body. So we want to give thank you and praise and salute them. So that's going to kick off at 11 a.m. this Friday, also in Agnes Haywood Park, as we give our support and our care and our prayers to all the men and women who serve and protect our country each and every day. And we just said that because yesterday was 9/11, the 22nd anniversary, and we want to make sure we continue to do our part, not only just to remember, but how do we become or establish ourselves as better human beings, not just only across the globe so no one looks at us with an ugly eye, but how are we better as neighbors? How are we better as friends? How are we better as enemies? How are we just better living in one community? So I think 9/11 is a remembrance. If you don't get it right, things can happen that are unforeseen, but things that really can hurt and destroy a world. So we're praying that we can pull together, that these days that we don't have to experience these kind of attacks or war on the soil that we live on. And next, we want to let you know that New York City has been issued until tomorrow night, 6 p.m., a flood watch. So please, wherever you are, be safe. If you're on the road, get to where you got to get to. I've been in situations where driving in the rain and the floods hitting the car door and the side of the door is not a safe site to be in. It's an ugly site to be in, but it does a lot on the nerves, and you don't want to get stuck. You don't want to be one of those people who get a tree falls on you or lightning hits you. You don't want to be that person. So please get indoors. Watch your flooding. If you have a household, please make sure you do all you can to keep all your sewer lines cleaned up. Make sure your gutters are clean, that you don't have anything so leaves can't back up. So we want to let you know that is happening because the storms have been kicking, and I believe we've had 23 storms, type of coastal storms around the globe that they're trying to figure out. It's the most this country's ever had in quite some time in 1 year. So be careful out there and get into safe places and spaces before the bad weather does hit again. So we started talking about at the beginning of what's going on, back to school. So this is what today's show is all about. We're going to get back to schooling, because it's not just talking about back going to school. It's about the schooling that happens within the building, the flavor, the walk, the talk that we got to give when we start schooling each other. And that means you're going to get schooled whether you are 4 years old, or whether you're 7 years old, or whether you're 12 years old, whether you're 16 years old, or you 25 years old, or you were just helping a child and one of your colleagues got to school you about how to manage your environment. Well, that's what it's all about, going back to school as we do with schooling. And one of the good men that's ready to get back to school is the leader of a ship here in the Boogie Down Bronx. And I'm so grateful and thankful. I had the pleasure of knowing him for over a decade now as he does the work here at Richard R. Green campus. But the leaders of tomorrow, he's leading those to our young souls into bright and better days for tomorrow. So I want to thank him and welcome to King Talk Tuesday, our good principal of Leaders of Tomorrow, the good Joseph Burnett. How are you, Principal Burnett? How are you doing tonight? Let's get your microphone on. Let's get your mic on. Uh-oh, you got his mic off? Let's get your mic on. There we go.
There we go. Now we're back.
There we go. There we go. Welcome.
Good to see you, Andy.
Thank you for joining us tonight. And we're looking forward to hearing the schooling you got to share this evening as we kick off another school year, 23-24. And I thank you. And I thank you for being able to be a partner with you and being part of the village there, because it does take a village to raise our children. So thank you, and thank you, and thank you. And we want to get into the conversation with you, because you being the head of that ship and the principal of that ship, there's a lot of things that are expected as a principal. We have you manage middle school. One of our high school principals are going to join us later on. We're going to tackle the high school experience. But you got young kids coming in who've never been in this type of environment, where they're coming from. They were big fish in a small pond. Now they're the sixth graders seeing a little fish in a giant pond. They're like, oh Lord, where's the bathroom? You're trying to find themselves. So talk a little bit about how was that first day, the energy, the expectations that you had on your mind when you walked in the door, and then these young people, what was the energy and the mood of the students this season?
This year has been great. We started with a back to school barbecue the night before kids came, sponsored by our community school leader, New York Edge. So a great way to sort of bring the new families, the new kids into the building the day before to get some of those nerves out. And just really wanted to launch the year with some joy. So we were very fortunate to be able to bring in a 9-year-old Ghanaian rapper named Photocopy to sort of and just how things are different in Ghana, and just to celebrate and enjoy every moment and take advantage of the opportunities that you have.
Take advantage of the opportunities that you have. Now, I want to thank you for Photocopy because, as many of our viewers know, the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program, one of its homes, and when it originally started, it was at the Richard Green campus. And for those who don't know, we've been partnered up with your school over the past year to help those 6th and 7th graders and some 8th graders be better young people. And after Photocopy left you, he ended up showing up at the Yep Clubhouse.
I heard he got a second barbecue in.
He got a second barbecue, and he ended up showing up. And I'm grateful to announce he was so excited. We made it. He became a member, and now he is our ambassador, world ambassador for the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program. So thank you for having him here and being part of the family, extended family. We're glad to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
I want to talk to you about, I heard you mention, and we talked about those early days of walking into a new environment. The 6th graders. I want to specifically talk on the 6th graders because we're going to go through grade because there's a lot of schooling. And when we talk about schooling, we're not talking about schooling with a G. We're talking about schooling with an N and a hyphen on the top of it. When it comes to that 6th grader who's walking in an environment, what are some of the expectations that you're looking to deliver for them?
So, I think middle school is unique in that it's sort of the transition from students being babies and little kids to how they become high schoolers. And really, we have a very short period of time to help them make that transition successfully. And so we're very intentional about how we structure things to be similar to a elementary school, but also making sure that we're creating the ability for them to explore their creativity, make sure that they have some choice in what they're able to do both throughout the school day and after school. So giving them some opportunities to explore who they want to become or who they think they want to become as they enter that grade.
So as they enter that grade, their minds are trying to figure it all out. And you're saying your job right now as the new matriarch in their house, the new leader of the building right now they're walking into, is helping them navigate, figure that out. Okay. So what do you say to that 6th grader? How do they navigate a new environment? How do they transition from being, hey, I'm not the baby no more, but there's a greater expectation on you being in this environment?
A lot of that has to do with partnerships. It's a big job trying to bring 12 different schools and the students from 12 different cultural environments where they started from kindergarten to 5th grade together into a space and establish a new community. So we're very fortunate to have a bunch of CBOs, community-based organizations, including the Arthur Project, New York Edge, your own organization, Andy, to really help guide. Like this isn't 30 kids in front of one teacher and being able to do it successfully. It's really trying to figure out how can we bring all of these community partnerships to create the right supporting environment to give students what they need in order to navigate that change and start to think about who they are. I think that's something that shifts as you go into middle school. It's not who you are both for yourself, but also in relationship to others. And figuring out how you navigate that is difficult. And so trying to bring all the resources together that our neighborhoods and our community partners bring in order to support that development.
Okay, I like to talk about community partners. I know you're 12 different schools. You have all these folks coming in, and different vibes, and different educational teachings, and different structures that might have came from 41, might be different than 7, 8, different from 112 or 21. They all landed in your lap, and you gotta take that gumbo and make and serve it out well and make a new meal for them. Okay, so what is the feeling? What is the energy like with all these different sixth graders in the room? I know it's only a couple of days, but after these days, are the sixth graders excited? Are they not excited? Or are they feeling lost? I don't want to say whiny, but what's the vibe of the groups that you have in there right now?
I mean, sixth graders bring a lot of energy, and so keeping that sort of in a space that can be managed and start to be developing some of those middle school lessons is one of our commitments. I think there's still a lot of great energy coming out of our first week launch. There's an excitement around after school programming beginning next week. Also been hyping up our attendance. One thing that's been tremendous this year is we've been able to hit over 92% attendance very early in the year, which was a struggle last year. We're very excited about bringing families back into the building and really partnering and giving parents and one thing that's happening this week is we've also been invited to go to the UN International Day of Peace on Thursday. So we're taking a select group of students to really go see how they can be leaders in the world and then bring that learning back for all of our students. So thinking how we go out into the world and then bring those students who experience that to share that with everyone else, to continue that excitement of how we can be leaders both within our building, but also in the world at a large.
Yeah, that's going to be a great experience, because I always, if people don't show up, then you can't get anything. You got to show up. You just can't by osmosis start learning and, think you're just going to digest something just because you tapped on a button. You got to show up. You got to be in the classroom. And the same thing for the parents. They must show up for their children. So I appreciate y'all managing a way to open up the doors, to welcome back families into the building. So the building becomes more of that family energy, and the village establishes itself that, hey, we are each other's keeper, and parents have a responsibility to making sure, and you live in a neighborhood, just like you said, that we got to be in a space that we raise our children together, because our children are in the same parks, they're in the same stores, they walk down the same block. So why can't we all be kind of on the same page if the goal is to produce successful people? So I want to thank you for that. But I do want to change the script. Oh, yes, I want to go over to the seventh grader, the ones who managed all of this. They come back feeling that they know what's going on, but still trying to figure out the hand from the elbow at the same time. Talk about the seventh grade vibe in the building.
I mean, seventh grade is always. It's a year that I sometimes describe as they're closer to aliens than humans for a portion of the year. It's really that transition period between now I know what middle school is about. It's a year that has heavy academic requirements. A lot of the high school application process is based on how students do in the seventh grade, both academically, attendance, socially. So there's a lot of academic pressure that happens there. And so I think that's a point where students are thinking, like, who am I as a learner, and what do I want to do academically becomes much more at the forefront. So you've sort of managed the first part of that social environment in middle school. And now it's thinking about, like, how can I use my mind to develop who I am as well? And the energy there is always up there. The seventh grade lunch is active. Those gym periods are some of the most energetic and fun to be around. I like going to shoot the basketballs with the seventh graders in particular. There's a large participation. You don't see many kids sitting. The energy's great there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I enjoy your analogy, the aliens half of the time, because those brains are definitely like, what in your brain thought that was a good idea to do that?
Those chemicals that are flowing through their bodies as they mature definitely make decision making a little questionable at times.
Or like, my goodness. But like you said, when they're going through all those hormonal changes, you being in middle school, I believe, other than grabbing a student from their early years of development to about the third grade, you got to jump back into middle school, because that's when the next stages of helping them figuring out, because we as doctors will tell you, and as a sociology minor in college, kids know by the age of 7 right and wrong, good and bad, consequences, and the joys that you get for doing things right. So by the time you get that middle-aged, that teenage kid that's in middle school, now here comes a whole set of factors that in their body they got to figure out to adjust and keep the rules of engagement. What rules of engagement? I got to deal with this other thing going on inside of me, and being able to correct it. So you definitely are in a space and a place in their time that learning and teaching, I think, is absolutely the crucial moment of how they're going to lay the pathway of how successful they're going to be in life. So, and they kind of suffer from that middle child syndrome, because they're not the babies of the bunch, and they're not the big brothers of the bunch. They're just there. So what do I do with that? So I want to thank you for offering that kind of wisdom, and being able to assess it, because not everybody can. But I got to jump in now. Since we talk about the 7th graders, we got to talk about the people that they got it together going on now, your 8th graders. They're like, yeah, I done this, I did that, I'm about to graduate. Who am I? Say it with your chest, all that kind of stuff going on. Talk a little about this group that you're excited about, that's about to represent your building once they graduate.
Yeah, I mean, this group has been was a small group when we started, when they started in 6th grade, but has always been academically, I'd say, curious. They're a group that asks a ton of questions, and we're trying to figure out how we can continue them having that mindset, because that's often something that gets lost as students get older, is that curiosity and that desire to learn about the world around them. And one way that we're really pushing that this year is continuing our effort to make sure that every student has the opportunity to take a high school course. So we offer the Algebra Regents, and are really trying to make sure that as our students transition out of middle school into high school, they have that academic experience that they're going to have in high school. So being prepared, being aware that the pace changes. And so really trying to use that, the 8th grade year, to shift from a middle school pace to how do you have to pass classes? How are credits earned in high school? And so making sure that the transition and that we're intentional in how we offer both those opportunities academically, but also support them socially and I think developmentally as they're taking those more difficult courses. I mean, algebra is definitely a challenge for some of our 8th graders, but being able to experience that high school class early, I think is an experience that keeps them grounded, but also gives them an opportunity to expand their learning in a quicker way.
Well, I thank you for that, because everyone needs a little bit of exposure of what the next day looks like. And if they can manage today, tomorrow kind of takes care of itself. It's just so many of our young people have experience getting stuck in the quicksand and can't get out of today. So I think all that you can do to help them manage themselves out of the quicksand of a 6th grader, the quicksand of a 7th grader, and now having themselves in the 8th grade where they position themselves to see the brighter future that you all resonate in your conversations throughout those 3 years. But I do want to say this, with you being the Batman of the building, every Batman always got to have a couple of Robins, a couple other capes running around the building and help them save the day. So I just right now, I want to bring in somebody else who runs a cape with you to help you make things work in that building. I want to bring in Sister Latoya Reed, who is one of your paras, who's doing some wonderful work and helping the students hold it down, the discipline. Let's get a microphone on. Sister Latoya Reed Payne, welcome to King Talk Tuesdays. How you doing,
Hi. Finding you.
Glad you can join back tonight.
Good evening, Miss Reed. Good to see you.
Thank you. So we wanted to bring you in because, there's a lot of work that has to be done in that building. And you have a captain of the ship who's doing what he does, and he has you. So as the school year started, and you're working under the tutelage of Principal Burnett, what are all some of the expectations of staff when it comes to interacting with the students this year?
This year we started off on a good foot. Everybody is doing their part. Everybody is helping, whether they're 7th grade, 8th grade, 6th grade. Everybody is helping the kids. If they see them in the hallways, they're giving them words of encouragement. So we're all binding together, making sure everybody knows who each other are and that we're a community. We're building our 4 C's together.
You said building the 4 C's. Talk to our people. What are the 4 C's?
So our 4 C's are curiosity, community, commitment, and clarity. So we want everybody to know that we are a community. We want them to be clear on what our expectations are. We want them to know that they can be curious and ask any question. No question is a dumb question. And we want them to know that the commitment is we're in this together as a team, and we're going to make it work this year.
I like that. Teamwork, dream work. So you have your principal on. What is one of the things that you like to see that y'all work together in the mission that y'all have already established to make sure that these next, how many days is it in the school year?
180. 182 this year. Yeah.
Please share. What do you like to see the next 180 days look like?
Well, I want to see us grow better as a team and make sure that our kids know that no door is locked to them. We have an open door policy. You can come and see us and we'll talk to you. We have a lot of kids that just come and like to talk and sit in the dean's office with me and Mr. Curtis, or sit in the principal's office with Mr. Bernard and just talk. So we just let them do that. But we also let them know that schoolwork needs to be done first before you come and sit and chat with us. So just building up on our teamwork.
Okay. Well, I'm so excited. I think we're almost close to wrapping the halftime. And I was at the school not too long ago and we took what we wanted to share with some of the people, some of the stuff that y'all were doing in the school in preparation. Madam Producer, are we ready to roll that to show a little bit about how the wonderful work and how y'all have been organizing to get ready? I watched Ms. Chan move around the building, your guidance counselor, doing some wonderful work. I watched some of the other teachers that were setting up the classrooms, getting ready to, inspire the children, because I was taught, and I guess you all know, the greatest colors of learning are colors of excitement. Some people say, why are you always bright? Well, I'm always trying to learn. So I got to wear something bright so I can see. So I just say to everybody else, I thank y'all when I walked into those classrooms and I saw those colorful images that are in it that set the stage in your brain for one to feel excited about being in an environment. It's almost like if you go to a prison, the colors are dull and dull and dull and dull and dull, just to psychologically take you down. But I love the way y'all dressed up the school there. So I just want to know, if for my producer, are we ready yet to run it, or do we want to do it after? We can come after break, and I think she's telling me we're going to have to run it after break. So we are close to halftime. Listen, we do have more guests that are going to show up after halftime. But I want, and we know you're going to stay. Y'all don't get a pass. Y'all not going nowhere. We got more work to talk about because we need to reach out to you, Mr. Principal, before we go to break. A question did come in, so I just want to ask it since both of you here. The question reads, and I'm going to read it. It comes from Farah D. It comes up. It says, you mentioned something about partnerships. So she's asking a question: what do parents and partners really mean? When the parents come back in the building, what is expected of them?
Yeah, I mean, I think just building off the work that the chancellor has done, like we want to make sure that parents are true partners. Like it's not enough to serve a community if parents are just coming in for parent-teacher conferences. We're looking for true leadership. We're looking for ways that parents can expand the offerings, that can volunteer throughout the course of the school. I saw in the question, it was, what are the expectations? The expectations are show up in whatever way you can to help and support, whether that's coming in to help at our harvest feast around Thanksgiving, whether that's something that you can commit to coming in on a regular basis, whether it's serving on a parent board with the PTA or the school leadership team. there are so many opportunities, and that voice hasn't been heard, I think, as loudly as it needs to be for us to be as effective as we can be as a school. As Andy says, it takes a village, and oftentimes the voice of the parents and the guardians who have seen the development of their children and are obviously most committed to their success in the future, that voice isn't as powerful and it isn't as represented. So I'm looking for any ways that parents want to show up in order to support the development of our leaders. And so I'm calling any leaders of tomorrow parents who are out there, if there's something that you want to offer, if there's something that you can't offer, please step up. It's definitely something that is a work on, and we're trying to engage and trying to create a welcoming environment that gets parents to show up on a regular basis.
Wow. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Appreciate that answer. But also with that answer, I always say, people pay attention to people who participate. So we need parents to participate in your child's future, in the community's future, in the neighborhood future, and just the future. So with that being said, we're going to take a break on King Talk right now, and we'll be right back in the future, right after the break from a couple of our friends.
Revolution of hip hop. Bronx Terminal Market. 610 Exterior Street. Bronx, New York. Tuesday through Sunday. Pull up.
The Golden Era, 1986 through 1990.
Good Neighbors Community Outreach Agency provides programs that help community residents improve their lives and support their families. Are you in need of food, clothing, employment, or a home? We also provide immigration services and passport renewal.
Hi, I'm Pastor Glad.
And I'm Lady D.
We're here to serve you.
Need help? Ask us.
You can reach us by calling 718-652-3288 or visit us at gncdcny.org.
Welcome back to King Talk Tuesday, the show with real views, real news, and real talk. I'm your host, Andy King. We are here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on Facebook and our YouTube channel, King Talk Tuesdays. You can also watch us every Thursday at 10:30 p.m. on Optimal TV Channel 70, as well as Files Channel 2136. We're streaming on a number of streaming services such as Roku TV, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and Millennial TV 24, and Clash TV. So please check your local listings so you don't miss any of our previous episodes. You know, we are here on King Talk Tuesday, and it's halftime. As a former basketball player, I always have to get my stretch on and make sure I got my wee jump shot always in the flow, you know, because that's how we do it here on this show. But this is a moment in time. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been tuning in and watching the show and offering prayers to everybody in the midst of this world. The world has been a little cockeyed to use the term. I know it's not an educated term, but it has been tilted a little off its axle in the last couple of years, with the children trying to manage the pandemic and adults trying to figure out their economics. But more importantly, many of us in this world trying to understand what a spiritual force that can guide them to better todays and better tomorrows. I say for you, I don't know what it is for you, but I say it's the world is hard, the world is rough. Find something to center your faith on. You know, when you look after others, the problems that you may experience each and every might not seem that bad, might not be that serious. But at the end of the day, I ask you, speak to a higher creator, whoever that is for you. For me, it's the Most High in Christ. So I say my prayers. I say my prayers for my friends, my neighbors, my community, my frenemies, my enemies, anybody. But at the end of the day, we got to offer prayer, have a conversation. You know, sit by the dock of the bay, have a conversation with yourself. Talk to your mama, your dad, somebody you can trust. But more importantly, you got to believe in something greater than yourself to succeed, because no, we didn't create the mountains. We didn't create the heavens. We didn't create the stars. There's a something higher being greater than human and mankind. And once we understand and believe and walk in that essence, we can navigate the world that's been provided for us today. So with that being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in to King Talk Tuesdays. If you have a thought or a comment, please send us something. I want to thank a few people who are chiming in and watching us tonight. I want to thank Susan Williams, who is tuning in, who said good evening to us all. So thank you, Sister Susan, for tuning in, just reaching out and saying good evening to everyone. My sister Les Glover, who is also tuning in, who offers her good evening. I see brother and evangelist Julian McDade is chimed in to saying, well, you're welcome very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. And of course, one of our former Yep moms, but always a Yep mom and always a Yep at the Shepherds. I want to thank Sister Shepherd, Mama Shepherd. I always call her. You're a Yepper for life. And so the three little, what they call them? What's the mom and the three little bears? What they call them? And what's that? A nursery rhyme? I know I'm dating myself right now. All right, let me keep going. So thank you for so many. And Sandy De Jesus, all the way from Miami, Florida. Good evening to all. We really appreciate it. And all of you in the New York City public school system, I want to say thank you. And I got to call it that, because that's what our good chancellor, 20 months since, when he doesn't want to use the Department of Education, but he wants to use what he calls New York City public schools. If there's a new day, you want to have a new mantra, you want to have a new vibe, a new psychological thinking. If something gave bad vibes, the only way you can get out of that boat, you got to paint a new boat. And sometimes you just got to get a new boat. So we're thankful for our new chancellor over a year and a half, 2 months, 2 years, putting this all together. So thank you, Chancellor Banks, for all the work that you're doing and you continue to do, and the team that's working with you to make sure that our students are that much more better and prepared for tomorrow. So that being said, let's jump back into the second part of King Talk Tuesdays, as we've been joined by a number of our guests, Principal Bernard, which I call the Batman, then the Robin of it, his Robin, Latoya Reed Payne. I want to thank her. But we do have Batwoman on the scene who knows how to get it run and get it done all the time. She's a high school principal, was very sharp, was very bright, and I want to thank her. And I want to welcome her to King Talk Tuesdays. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the principal of the Academy of Scholarship and Entrepreneurship, Sister Zenobia White Cruz. Welcome, my sister. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, we're so thankful and grateful to have you tonight. We're talking about schooling, and I know you're dealing with high school kids. Ain't nothing but schooling going on up in there, because the 9th graders accolade, they don't got no sense. So the 11th graders got to school them, and the 12th graders school the 11th graders, and 11th graders and the 10th graders ain't listening to the 11th graders. So a whole lot of schooling going on in the high school. So I feel you.
There's a lot going on. You are right, but a lot of good stuff as well.
Let's talk about some of the good stuff. I was at your school. You did something that I've never, ever seen before. You did this walk with the freshmen through the halls, welcomed them in like they were superstars, going to the Grammys or something. What's that all about? Talk to our viewers.
So we wanted to do something a little different this year. We are reimagining the Academy for Scholarship and Entrepreneurship, and we wanted to start with the 9th grade. And we wanted to celebrate them. Sometimes middle schoolers transitioning into high school, they are afraid, they are teased, they are like the lowest person on the totem pole. So I wanted to reverse that this year. I wanted to lift them up. So I wanted to acknowledge them in ways to let them know that you are celebrated, you are loved, and you are welcomed. So this year, we had all of our upperclassmen line up in the hallway, and we had a walk of fame for our 9th graders while they sang songs and celebrated them. We also had a ceremonial tie given to each of our scholars that had the emblem of ASC and also had the year of their graduation. So it was a wonderful, wonderful event. And this is the first year. This is a plan to actually celebrate them in the same way for years and years to come. We will also be acknowledging our 12th graders as well. But instead of ties, we're actually going to do senior sweaters for them and celebrate them. So this is the year of celebration. We want to bring love. We want to bring joy. And we want people to be excited about going to school.
I like that. Being excited to go to school. Well, that's what Friday we're hoping will be also to kick off that, some of that energy that President, listen to me. Principal Ben, I just call you Batman. I won't forget that.
Principal, he's claiming it for you.
that all that.
This job's big enough. I don't need that one.
So for the principals, I gotta ask y'all. You're coming to a new school year, and we just want to know, because questions are coming in. They just want to know, how do you both as principals, how do you prepare yourself and your staff for a new school year? I'm gonna start with your principal, Bernard, and then Madam Principal again.
Yeah, I encourage my people to make sure they got a rest. Last year was difficult. I think we saw a lot of the social emotional needs coming out of the pandemic sort of come to fruition among our sixth graders, and it was a tough year to get through. And so I really encourage people to take time for themselves, relax, get rejuvenated. And I tried to be disciplined in not reaching out to them consistently over the summer, giving them the time to just decompress. And we've talked a lot about, like, how do you take care of yourselves? We participated in a New York City walk challenge at the end of last year, and just the importance of making sure that you're physically and mentally ready for the start of the year has been a focus for both me personally and my staff as well.
Principal Dwight DeCruz?
I echo that. We also encourage mind, body, and spirit, just relaxing in the summer, enjoying yourself as much as possible. They have earned it. They've worked hard all year, and at sometimes you have to look at yourself and really take in some rest and some relaxation. So that's the first thing. And we also did a nice celebration for our teachers upon their return. We have quite a few September birthdays, so we made sure that we acknowledged them, and we had a little cake and celebration. It's just a matter of letting them know that they're loved as well. If they come in after a long, of a not so long, I should say, summer break, still a little tired, maybe some concerns. So we wanted to also celebrate them with some cake and breakfast and lunch and just a lot of love, getting them, building them up mentally for the job that's ahead of them.
Now, I heard both of you talking about telling your staffs to enjoy the summer, because between some of the students having to go into summer school, or even some of them having their own families, kind of gets cast to the side when you're working with New York City public school system, because you're so busy trying to prepare students to be ready for the following year, so you don't have to hold anybody back, or you keep the psychological edge of them being students, and as one principal says, scholars, always prepared. So I gotta ask you, over the summer, what did your schools do to encourage continuing learning over the summer for your students?
So some of the things that we looked at prior to leaving in June, we made sure that we prepared summer assignments for all of our incoming ninth graders. We also the teachers prepared assignments for the advanced placement classes so that they can get up to speed with all the things that they needed to do. We had a summer school program. We actually had quite a few of our seniors that needed to gain additional credits to graduate. So we were happy that we had 6 August graduates. We also had an orientation session, a 1-week-long orientation session that was designed by our community associate, Ms. Barham, where the new scholars coming in got an opportunity to meet each other, to meet the teachers, to do some team building activities, to go have some opportunity to kind of get a feel of what some of the classroom sessions would be like. So the math teacher came in and walked them through some of the math assignments that they may be engaged in. So it was just an opportunity to get to know each other, so that first day won't be so intimidating for them. And we also had a lot of training this summer. We are doing the Future Ready program. We're also a part of the Career Ready Modern Youth Apprenticeship program. So the teachers were training in those aspects. And also we had We are doing illustrative math, which is a new approach toward math this year. So teachers were training. So although we did want them to rest up, there was opportunity for them to kind of hone up some skills around the career development and also ELA and math.
So before Mr. Bernard, before you answer this question as well, both of you and we've all had the privilege of working together to help in this village. And one of the groups that we have established as a part of that village is the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program, where students from both of your buildings are participating. So we can be right back on King Talk Tuesdays, right after the message from the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program.
The Bronx Youth Empowerment Program, YEP, is a youth organization that has served the Northeast Bronx for 17 years. During our tenure, we have provided recreational and educational forums that have nurtured the growth of many youth in the community. YEP has also serviced hundreds of youngsters around New York City. YEP's target audience is youth from the age of 11 to 18 with the goal of helping youth become productive adults. YEP provides young people with resources to explore leadership skills, community involvement, and self-development. YEP consists of weekly and bi-weekly informational sessions with guest speakers from professional, political, and entertainment arenas. Also, as a part of community involvement, YEP will host trips to a variety of venues for educational and recreational experiences. As we continue to partner with other local organizations and serve our community, we will strive to unite and develop the youth in our community. The mission of the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program is building mind, body, and community.
Well, I gotta say, 18 years ago, I did not imagine I'd still be going in this type of flow. But when the Lord puts the spirit of service on you, all you can do is serve. So I'm glad to be part of your building and helping build mind, body, and community with our young people. So thank you all for what you're doing, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of your village, and we're looking forward to hopefully continue to be part of your village, just helping our young people be better adults as they grow older. So we want to jump back in the last segment of King Talk Tuesdays, and I want you to answer that question I just offered before we went to break. But I got to pause for a second because Principal Zenobia White Cruz mentioned somebody, and that somebody is like her Robin in her building. So we know Batwoman got to have a Robin. So we got to bring the Robin in of ASC. So I want to welcome to the first time the King Talk Tuesday, Yvonne Barham. Welcome, the prime coordinator. Come on, Barham is in the house. What's up, Barham? Let's get your microphone on. Get your microphone on. Let's get your microphone on, Miss Barham. Your microphone is off.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Good night, good night, good night. Good night, Principal White.
Good night, Miss Barham.
Well, welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
We're so glad to have you as a parent coordinator, you know, and we got to see a little, because we're talking about the children, principals, the Johnson.
Community coordinator.
That's what we're talking about. All right. Well, now if we even talk about more of the community, that means we need to know now from you. We want to give you an opportunity. So how do you work now to get more parent and involvement to making sure that they're involved in this new school community action plan that you're creating? And what is that action plan, by the way?
So that action plan is to make sure that we have the home, school, and the teachers, and as well as the scholars working together as one. And what we did, the first thing that we did, the action plan with Principal White de Cruz, is that we had, as she mentioned previously, a welcome reception. At that welcome reception, we invited all the parents to come in. We invited our community leaders. We invited people from the community, even the neighbors in the community. We invited them over. We had a breakfast. We had the hosting of the radio show, just to say that the school cannot exist without everyone hands, helping to make sure that we are always a success.
I like that. Well, one community. Well, and the blessings of a community is that you all are one community, because the children who attend LOT end up at ASE. So,
correct. Definitely they do.
Yeah. So I gotta ask you all, from Principal Bernard, what is the relationship now? Because one of the things, and I'll be as humble as I can be right now, one of the things I prided myself on as a council member when I was serving was making sure that there was relationships between the elementary school, the middle school, the high school, because all the students, whether they're brothers and sisters living in the same buildings, same households, same neighborhoods, they're all going to the same schools. So how do you all build a relationship? I'm going to give this to you, Principal Ben. How do you build a relationship with your high schools in your neighborhood, that you make sure that whatever you're feeding them, teaching them, because you talked about the 12 schools feeding into you, how do you feed something into the next level that it can continue without Principal White, the crew, saying, what in the world did he just send me?
I hope that's not the case, but I'm blessed to have a tremendous 8th grade guidance counselor, Ms. Chan, who's participated in YEP over the years, and she does an amazing job of making sure that we're exposing our students to all of the different schools that are available. So I know that on Principal White's campus, there's not only the software school, but we send a lot of our ENL students to the international school, and they've just developed an IB program. So it's really figuring out, like, how can we help direct students to places where they can continue to develop. I think, as I said, the work of the middle school is really helping kids figure out what their identity is and who they want to be in the world, and making sure that we're using the 7th and 8th grade to help them find one of the schools in New York City that can help them continue to develop. And I think that's the amazing thing about New York City is the amount of choice that students do have in the options for high school, and making sure that there's a good fit between what they want to do and who they want to become, and what those high schools offer. So it's very much a partnership, and making sure that there's opportunities to visit the various campuses where a lot of our students attend.
Oh, excellent. That's great to hear. And I want to say to both of you, right, I was joking because I know he doesn't send a mess up there. But I do understand the relationships and the challenges that we have with grooming and sending a set of kids. And I give you kudos because you mentioned that this year starting up, your attendance was so great as compared to some of the past. And that's the thing, is that public schools have to recognize when you're doing better, we have to promote and share that we're doing better. Chancellor Banks said one time that charter schools have a better PR system that talks about how great they're doing, that the public schools, that we have to do better. Well, I'm going to be singing your praises all the time, because as you do better, we need the neighborhoods to know that you're doing better, so they don't send their kids on an hour's drive or an hour train ride to school when they have a good middle school or a great high school right there in the neighborhood. So absolutely. I want to say to you, Principal White, I want to say thank you to both of you. But Principal White, how do you reach back into the middle schools and say, hey, listen, how do we build this relationship that whatever you're teaching can be maintained and built on?
Well, I will say that Ms. Barham is a real integral part of that. Our counselors are also an integral part. We participate in various orientations that happen in the middle schools. We invite middle school scholars to visit us. We try to introduce them to all of the wonderful courses that we have in business, entrepreneurship, and marketing, and computer science. So we start out, embracing them in their location and then invite them to experience ours. And like I said, Ms. Barham is an integral part of ensuring that happens.
Oh, okay. Well, we're getting closer as we get ready to wrap up. We literally have about 4 minutes left, and I want to give each and every one of you an opportunity for a minute just to say, if any student that is watching, and for our principals or any staff or parents that are watching, what would be the words that you will offer them? And I want to start with two of you who work with parents and diligently each and every day. I want to start with Ms. Lareed Payne, who's also working with our parents in the Bronx Youth Empowerment Program. She's also helps us out and makes sure that YEP flows and grows as well. Talk to us. What would be some final thoughts that you will offer for the school year?
Do your best. Come to school. We want the parents to be our partners. Come to games. We do games. We do family nights. Come and be a part of the family that we're creating this year.
Excellent. I love it. I love it. Ms. Barham, your thoughts?
Okay, so for me, it will just be similar thoughts that they should come in. But I would also like to say to the parents that the high school students do need you. Most parents drop the ball as soon as they hit high school, and that's it for them. They feel that they're old enough, they can manage. That's not so. This is a time that parents need to rally around their scholars, ensuring that they are doing well, encouraging them, and seeing, letting them know that college is in the future for them.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, now, Joseph Bernard, come on, Batman. What you got for us?
I'm just going to build off your model. Like, people pay attention to people who participate, and we need everyone to come and build that village and really step up. Like, the time after the pandemic is over, and it's time to get back to that full parent participation. Those active communities coming together to really develop our campus into the dynamic place that it can be. And parents are crucial to that. So please come participate, and we welcome you into our building.
Excellent. And the final words will come from Principal Zenova White, the Cruz.
So I would just like to say, have a wonderful, wonderful school year. Before I leave my house each and every day, I'm very thoughtful and I'm very prayerful about every scholar, every teacher, every parent. And that's the most important for me, is that you be safe, that you feel loved, and that you are celebrated and reach your fullest potential every single day. Much love to you in a wonderful 2023-24 school year.
Wow. Thank you. I thank all of you for tonight. This was so inspiring. The doors are always open. We're going to do some more of these, but I'm looking forward to seeing everybody this Friday as we not only celebrate our uniform fighters, but as our children come together for one good kickoff run to have a wonderful time at the out of the pool, back to school, recreation day in Angus Haywood Park. I will see y'all at 10:30, but the doors are open. So thank y'all again. And to everyone who's tuning in tonight, we say thank you. But you know what we always do on King Talk Tuesdays? We end every show with a scripture. And tonight's scripture reads from John chapter 16, verse 13. These things have I spoken unto you, that ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. If no one told you today, God loves you, and so do I. Your friend, your brother, and your neighbor, Andy King. Peace.